All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a bonus episode of Playing Games with Strangers. I am your DM today because we're recording during the daytime. And with me is the one, the only Steve McDonald.
There's more than just one Steve McDonald.
But there's only one that we care about.
On IMDb, I'm Steve McDonald number 10.
Well, you're number one. That's just the rating out of 10, sir. That is, you are the 10 out of 10 Steve McDonald.
Thanks. I'm the 10th.
So as you may be asking yourself, wait, why a bonus episode? And the question is because everybody else on the cast, after the events of the last session that we played, keeps asking the question, well, what happened to Gheroth? And so I want to answer that question. And Steve has not heard what happened in the last sessions. So
nope.
Everything is going to be kind of playing out as it would if Gheroth had no idea what had happened.
Which is typical because Gheroth almost never has an idea what's happening.
So
he's changing his motto to, wait, what?
That, sir, that has been my motto since I started this campaign. It's
but in a good way. Right?
Yeah, well, in a good way. So we pick up, the party has returned from the Nine Hells. The agreement was made to regroup in Waterdeep, take some time, collect, recover from your experiences, and sort of make an actual game plan as far as how to proceed forward now that Callum has been made whole again, and how to address all the problems that basically have been presenting themselves. As you come into Waterdeep, the sightings of the undead and risen dead have been, you found that they have been increasing. There are more dirt mounds being found all over the place, and as you return to your church in Waterdeep, there are a lot of the dirt mounds in the land surrounding that church, as well as some contrary arcane symbols that have been vandalized all over the church in your absence.
Like outside the church?
Yes.
Anything inside?
When you go into the church, you see kind of the standard people there who you would expect to see working in the church, recent converts, and the like, just, kind of harried, doing the best they can. But no, there's no vandalism on the inside of the church.
Okay. Are any of my old friends there?
The ones from Daggerford?
Yeah.
Belle the cat has come up to help with your church plant, but the rest have decided to remain in Daggerford.
Okay. Was the graffiti like carved into the thing, or was it just?
Make an investigation check. They are actually, they are not carved into the side of the church. They're more like painted up there in a red semi-coagulated fluid.
Only semi-coagulated?
Well, some of it's fresh.
Okay. Okay, so this hasn't been there for a while then.
No, you guys weren't gone for very long. You guys were probably only gone for like 3 days when you guys went into the Underdark, into the Nine Hells.
All right, but if it's only semi-coagulated, then, it's probably only been here for 30 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm. You're assuming all races' blood reacts the same to air.
Can I roll on phlebotomy?
You can roll a medicine check.
Let's see.
You aren't certain.
No.
Not with that
Okay.
7.
Right. But is it reddish?
Yeah.
Type?
Yeah,
blood?
Okay. You're fairly certain that this is blood. So.
Do I recognize the language that they're written in, or does it just look like a symbol?
It seems to be various arcane symbols that have. You recognize them as being probably evil or cultish in nature.
How much am I looking at? Is it just like a couple of, arcane swastikas, or is it like, did they do a mural
They didn't do a mural, but it looks like it looks like your church has been tagged pretty good.
Is anyone out there trying to clean it up?
Bell is definitely.
Oh, okay.
As well as some of the volunteers within the congregation.
So that's what they're. When you mentioned that nothing happened inside, I was thinking that the people were inside. So they're outside. They're cleaning up the thing.
Right.
Okay. Is there like an obvious bucket and rags or mops or something, or?
Yeah, I mean, like there's supplies out there, kind of stationed at various points around the building.
Okay. So as I'm walking up closer to it, I'll one thing I'll do is just sort of look around, sort of like at the see if there's anyone that's any type suspicious or standing or smirking or anything like that. But otherwise, I'll walk towards Bell.
Go ahead and roll an investigation.
You said athletics, yeah?
No, I said investigation. Natural 0.
How can I roll a 0?
Because you have a -1 on your investigation and you crit fail.
It just looks funny.
Whew. All right. No. At the moment you start to look around, the wind blows and you catch some sand in your eye and you're just like, I got to get it out.
All right. Oh, hey, at least I can see Bell over there. Yeah. I am walking in a way that, as much as I'm maybe just like shaking a little bit extra, so like the sound of me walking is evident. I'm not trying to sneak up on anyone or anything like that.
Good. Yeah.
So I'm not anticipating scaring Bell.
Right.
Because after, you see nasty stuff on the side of the place of your worship, that's the last thing you want, someone sneaking up behind you.
Right, I get that. Belle hears you coming and she turns around. She goes, "Oh, where have you been?"
It's a long story. What happened here?
Well, as you know, the dead have been being seen milling about. When we close up shop for the night, we go to our homes and we come back every morning and there's more holes dug in the yard and there's more signs that get posted up on the church. This has become kind of the morning ritual. Fill in the holes, clean the church.
Can anyone read these? Do we know where they come from?
We don't. It's not for my knowing as far as what they say. I mean, they don't look wholesome.
No, they do not. Let me help you. Let me do what I can to make sure that at least they're not seen anymore. What about the constabulary? Are they doing anything to remedy this, or is this happening to other places of worship?
Not to my knowing. We try to talk to the constabulary, but they're so wound up with the dead walking around trying to figure out what's going on there that we're not exactly vandalism's not a pressing issue for them at the moment.
Understandable, but still, these are crimes that would typically be perpetrated by people who have a great animosity towards us, or at least to our God. And if nothing is happening to other places where people worship, that leads me to feel as though this was targeted, not just something that is in general.
Yeah, that's our big concern as well.
How long has it been happening?
Probably the last 2 days.
Oh, all right. Well, I didn't know if it was longer than that, but 2 days is 2 days too many. Who's pastoring the church now?
Oh, I mean, typically when you're gone, we would have Stumblefoot, but we've just been kind of going on a rotation, because Stumblefoot's been busy too, and he just got back in town, but he's catching up on mayoral stuff because,
right,
his vice mayor isn't exactly the brightest apple in the shed.
Well, I suppose we could post a guard overnight.
Yeah, we could definitely do that.
The elders in the church, the leaders, are they coming here today? What is today anyway? Is this
It's just a regular weekday.
Okay. Or is there a way that we could talk and at least set up a watch guard overnight? I'd be more than willing to help out in that.
Yeah, I mean, I can go send some of the volunteers here to go arrange a meeting with the board.
Yeah, even if it's something informal, just something where I don't know, if these people here would be able to take part in that. As long as we have, a couple of people and willing weapons to be able to, at least shake them at anyone trying to come towards us. That might be enough to ward away anyone with ill intent.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if I had to take a guess at it, I'd probably assume that some of these dead that have been walking around. But
so you think it's the dead that are actually marking the church?
I'm not sure. It seems to be that it just seems to be that as they've been getting more and more frequent, this seems to be happening more and more frequently. I don't know. The dead rising, it's just not natural. I don't see how it would be God's will. It would make sense that they would be targeting us and not, anybody else.
Right, but there are other places who the beings that they worship would be considered enemies to the dead, deities of light and life, things like that. I mean, obviously our God is the God of everything, and these are only pale imitations. They worship the sun, which was created by our God. So they have that limited knowledge that they're going on. But even in the system of magic, this system that we live in here, it tends to hold to certain rules and certain parameters. So the god of the sun, their deity of the sun, would obviously have the enemy of being the deity of the darkness or night. So the enemy of this unlife, our God, wouldn't be the only one in the group of things being worshipped. That would be the only thing coming against that. So seeing that none of those other places are being attacked, it seems as though this is more targeted towards us specifically.
Well, I mean, we've just been keeping on as we always have. Unless you and Stumblefoot in your escapades have made somebody mad.
Which is probable. Anytime you're out in the greater world, sometimes you never know what you metaphorically are going to step into. So yes, it is possible. So perhaps that's something I could look into while we work together with the leadership of the church, trying to set something up at least for the night.
Yeah.
For
that makes sense.
The safety of the church.
That makes sense. Well, back to work, I suppose.
Yes.
Andrew over there. And a small dwarven child runs up and he goes, "Go fetch the elders. Apparently, we're going to have a board meeting to try to curtail this from happening again tonight." It's like, "Right away, Belle." He runs off into town, and then Belle goes back to cleaning the side of the church.
Okay. So once it's to the point where it's pretty much, cleaned, I'd probably head over to see if I can talk to Stumblefoot, and not sure where everyone else is.
Okay.
Where did I leave everybody?
Well, like I said to you off mic, Pooh had gone north with Christopher to the Bugbear Village. He kind of wanted to have some one-on-one time with Christopher in order to kind of have the long explanation with him as far as what has happened in the past few years, kind of ease him into the truth a bit. Callum, Wilder, and Orbog it was chicken fried steak night, so they decided to go to the Yawning Portal. And Stumblefoot had seen the vandalism to the church. And as soon as he was done getting caught up with mayoral stuff, his intention was to come help out with cleaning up the church and whatnot.
Okay. So I assume since Eric's not available, I go to try to find him, but he's still involved in the mayoral stuff.
Yeah, you get there and everything's kind of watertight. The town hall's kind of on lockdown. It's not quite martial law, but it's a little bit, security's a bit paranoid because of the undead that have been seen around town, and they just want to make sure everything's on the up and up, going in and out.
Can I at least put in a complaint at the constabulary?
Yeah. You go into the constabulary, and once again, there's a black dragonborn female.
Oh, it's you again. Well, it's been a long time since I've seen your face around here. How you've been doing?
Almost sounds like a threat. How you doing? I'm doing rather well, except something is going on with the place of worship that I come from.
You don't say.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure that the constabulary understood that there does seem to be some targeting with our building overnight. I know they are dealing with a whole bunch of things to do with the undead, but this seems something that's perhaps a little bit more targeted and may even hold some clues to the larger mystery.
Well, let me take a look here in my system, and I can...
She starts to rummage through some books and files.
Oh, yeah, I see that there was a tabaxi in here about a day or so ago who had complained that the new church in town was getting graffitied and holes dug in your yard. Tell you what, because you came into my office and provided me with such a spectacular view for the day, I'll pull some strings and see if we can't get a patrol guy to swing past there every so often tonight.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Malay.
Oh, it's my pleasure indeed. Swing by anytime.
Whoa.
Steve is blushing now for everybody who's at home.
No, it's just my natural skin color,
Okay.
which only comes out when I blink. But yeah, it's just kind of weird. Okay, so I will head back to the church and hopefully wait till the people get there too.
Yeah, by the time you get there, it's looking pretty dusky. Bell's like, oh, you just missed Stumblefoot. He helped us fill in the holes, and he went off to the yawning portal. But all the leadership is here now, and so we're just waiting for you to get the meeting started. Let's actually do this meeting. I can see some things I'd like to do here. So,
all right.
So you walk in.
You're all fired.
Oh crap! There goes that idea. You come in and there's 9 people who are waiting for you because you're the 10th of the board. And Rither looks at you and he's like, well, Stumblefoot, let's try that again. Well, Gheroth, you've called us all together. What's on your mind?
Due to the graffiti that's happening overnight, I wanted to see if we could put together a watch where perhaps some strong, able-bodied people could spend the night here on the grounds, and maybe just that presence would ward away any ill intent that's coming from anyone.
Homart looks at you and is like,
well, I thought, what would we do if we were approached by anybody who was intent on vandalizing the building again? The Book of the Dead clearly states that, those who live by the sword die by the sword. I don't see how that would be conducive to anything that would be conveying what our overall message is. I mean, shouldn't we be turning the other cheek or offering our cloak instead of...
Not to the undead, no. And you must remember that some things are metaphorical in the book, where living by the sword and dying by the sword isn't a one-to-one equation. I live by the sword. I may die by the sword. I may die of old age. But the greater message behind that phrase is, if you live by the sword, the odds of you dying by the sword are much larger. So if you die by the sword and you have lived by the sword, it shouldn't be any surprise. So that's sort of what that is saying there. Perhaps a teaching on these things to be able to better discern what the actual verses are in the Book of the Dead might be good, because we can be tripped up by these things many times. For instance, there is in the book it mentions train up a child the way he should go, and when he is old he shall not depart from it. And we all know that there are children in the church who have gone off to prodigal lifestyles. So is that a false saying? No. It is a saying that is mostly true. If you train up a child, most of the time he will not depart from that. And maybe even in small ways, even those prodigals haven't departed completely from it and will return. So these are different types of things that are theological and go into sort of the nuts and bolts of theology. Very worthwhile to teach. Not really what I'm getting into right now today. What I wanted to do is to make sure that violence doesn't happen to people in our church, to people outside of our church. And having these things targeting us and attacking the church could lead to that. So even though we do want to turn the other cheek, in most cases, we do also want to defend the weak, which in this situation I think is what we're looking for. If any child or anybody really that crossed paths with these things, and these things knew that they were part of us, they might target them. So we are doing this as protection, and especially as the church board, the church leaders. One of our main goals is the protection, spiritually, yes, but also physically, of our charges.
Froburn looks at you and he's like,
Well, what if we just leave their painting up on the church? I mean, maybe it will show us as being more accepting of other cultures, and perhaps it would allow us to further witness to these perpetrators and perhaps lead them to salvation, rather than just tearing it down and demonstrating that we don't care about their culture or what they might possibly have to say.
Well, the point there would be, we don't exactly know what this says, do we? Has anyone been able to define what exactly the words are or the symbols mean? Outside the fact that they're arcane and not divine?
No, but I mean...
So if they're arcane symbols, then they have no place being on the place where we worship. It would be almost like we are advertising in the negative. We would be saying that this thing that is not divine we're okay with that, that we are accepting of this thing that is not divine. And we can't take that step.
But we accept individuals coming into the church who aren't divine.
Right, because they are in the process of putting away their false religions, their false ideas. They're working towards that divinity, which we are also all working towards. They're not trying to bring in those things into the church. And in fact, if they do, and when they do, we correct them, or we send them out of the church, do we not?
Well, I mean, I personally am not for sending anybody out of the church. It doesn't make sense to me to send somebody away from the place where they can receive healing of their soul.
Right, but if they are actively working towards harming the individuals in the church, then for the sake of those people, we as the leaders, we put those people outside the flock because they have already defined themselves as being outside the flock. For the sake of the people who are in the flock, the people who we are trying to guard.
I don't...
False teachers and people who would bring in false teachings or adding to or taking away from the Book of the Dead.
Well, that just sounds
Things
a little
like
bit judgmental to me. I mean, who are we to say that they're...
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for understanding me as the someone who is an arbiter and a good judge of character. Thank you very much. I very much appreciate that. Does anyone else have any problems?
As far as this is concerned, it goes back and forth for quite a bit, and they take a vote on it, and they opt to revisit the issue after having time to think about it overnight, and they'll rediscuss it tomorrow.
So, do we just break up, or do I bust heads? What happens?
I mean, this is your game, bro. You tell me what.
You're all fired.
Well, technically, we're the church board. You can't fire us. We are elected positions within the congregation.
I de-elect you all.
Okay, Orbog.
Yeah, where's Orbog when you need him? All right, I will abide by the church council here, and personally, I will stay by the church tonight and do my best to at least form a presence that may dissuade people from doing anything in the church. So I will set up a little camp in, a safe enough place, make sure I have some javelins handy, and I think I'm just a guy. Stuff.
You're not just a guy. You're Gheroth.
A fine set of clothes. I could throw the fine set of clothes at him. No, I should be good with the javelins. Maybe I'll pick up a couple more javelins. I think they were 5 silver.
Yeah. So you can pick up a couple if you want for 5 silver.
All right, I'll get 10 for 5 gold. All right. Yeah, I'll make a little camp. Trying to get a visual layout for the church. Is it sort of like a church that's set back a little bit from the street, and then there's sort of like a grassy area in front, and then a sidewalk type of a thing, or cobblestone or whatever?
Yeah.
So it's not like the church front isn't on the street.
No.
Okay. So I'll set up camp. Is there like a grassy area around the whole building, or is it like flush up against other buildings?
Oh no, it's around the whole building.
Okay. So I'll probably just on one side, I'll set up my camp so I can sort of see that side plus the front area, or at least that's the side where most of the graffiti was. I don't know how much if it was covering the whole building, but the front and just that side, I'll set up a little camp, and I'll put the javelins sort of like in the ground, ready to just pick up and throw instead of like trying to store them somewhere where I'd have to like unbury them or whatever. So I would just sort of like have the javelins, and that way if they were like rushing me or something, I could sort of like lean into the javelins and have them pointed forwards.
Right.
So the people running would like sort of double duty there. Two great tastes that taste great together.
If you say so, brother.
That's the one to have when you're having more than one.
Dude, what are you talking about?
Crunch all you want. We'll make more.
All right, bro.
I've seen lots of ads. Oh, and I'll put out a general, like if anyone wants to join me, especially, able-bodied fighter folk, that, we could make it a little overnight party, overnight cookout at Gheroth's. Come on, everybody.
Huzzah.
Hot dogs at 2 a.m., hamburgers at 4 a.m., chicken at 6 a.m. That's what we're going to do.
All right. You put that out there. You don't get a whole lot of response. Everyone's kind of has this attitude of, oh, well, Gheroth's back in town. He'll take care of it.
Dragonborn's back in time.
And so you're kind of having your own little cookout at the side of the church. And as it starts to get fairly late, you see a group of hooded individuals coming from down the street that have a goat. They seem to be walking in the church's direction.
With Tom Brady or without?
Funny guy. Tom Brady is not the goat.
No, I'm just joking. All right, let me see what I have. They're walking in the direction. Do they see me at all?
It does not appear to be so.
Okay. As soon as they seem as though they're coming in this direction, I will sort of step forward and address them.
as they get to the front walkway of the church, it's like they suddenly see you, and they stop, and they haven't stepped foot on the property. They're just looking at you.
Okay.
How are you going to address them?
Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I could. So if I try to think of something that's sort of like non-aggressive, but obviously, So if I used, for instance, if I said I'm gonna cast magic weapon on my axe, the duration of that is up to an hour. So if they left and came back in an hour and a half, I would have lost that spell.
Correct.
Okay. So I'm thinking of something that I can do to sort of let them know that I'm prepared outside of me standing there in armor with access to all my weapons. That they don't seem like they're taking that as a hint. The person who is there like one person and then they have a goat and then there's a lot of other hooded people around them?
Correct.
Okay. And that person isn't saying anything, isn't making any moves or anything like that? No,
none of them are. They're all just kind of stopped and are watching.
Okay. So I will say, "Hello, friend. My name is Gheroth. How may I help you?"
They just kind of whisper amongst themselves, and the one who has the goat steps forward, his face still shrouded by the mask, and he looks at you. "Why are you here?"
"This is my church."
"We suggest that you..."
"I suggest that you leave. This is holy ground."
"The desecration is not complete. We must offer sacrifice."
"The desecration of this place is impossible. Move along."
"The desecration must be performed, or the ritual will be incomplete."
And again I say, the desecration of this place is impossible. Move on.
"Do you think your zealotry makes you invincible? Do you not see..."
"No.
"Do you not..."
My God is invincible. Move on."
Yeah, with a gesture from the cultist with the goat, all 10 of them start to rush you. Let's go ahead and roll some initiative.
How far away are they from me?
They are rushing you. I'd say they're probably within 15.
Okay.
All right. So, going first, we have the one that has the goat. As he starts running towards you, he sticks his hand out and makes a gesture and says something in a language you don't understand. Casts a spell, but it you see this arcane energy just zip past you and slam into the wall beside you as he yells at the other cultists to continue their attack. And they all encircle you, and the swords start blazing. What's your AC?
18. So this isn't the type of thing where I was ready for them, and then I could have been like about to do something if they did anything.
You would have had had to have called that before the melee would have started. But as it stands, only one of them really make contact with you beyond your armor. So,
okay.
Which he only does four slashing.
Okay.
So go ahead and take 4 damage.
He is going to use his draconic breath weapon.
Okay.
And pointed towards the goat master.
Okay.
And then hit everyone in a 5 foot by 30 foot. I think it's like a straight line because it's a lightning. Line of lightning.
All right.
But a 5 foot line of lightning. 5 foot, I guess, on either side.
So that's that's going to hit 5 people for sure.
Okay. Ooh, so 11 altogether.
Huzzah. So you blast this lightning through here. The 2 in the back, it only does half damage to.
Okay.
But these 3 that are immediately in front of you go deceased.
Oh wow! So they're little guys.
Yeah, that hurt them bad.
Right. Sounds good.
All right. Do you have any movement or bonus actions?
Can I have extra attack?
Yeah, that you would be able to do like a melee attack to anybody who's within melee range of you.
Okay. That's what I'll do. This guy here.
Okay.
And the battle axe.
You bury your battle axe into this guy's shoulder. He's not dead, but he is not feeling great.
Yeah.
Any movement?
Can I move to here?
You mean one step forward? Yeah, you should be able to, because you're still within melee of the guy that's next to you, so that's not going to give him an attack of opportunity.
Okay.
Okay, so the apparent leader is unhappy with the turn of events here, and he pulls out a dagger and takes 2 swipes at you with it as you approach him. You said your AC was 18?
Yep.
Yeah, it just kind of goes clang against your armor, and he starts screaming at the other cultists to attack you. So they swarm in around you to attack, and the remaining 5 of them start swinging scimitars at you.
There's 6.
Oh yeah, you're right. Thanks for being honest. And they all kind of clang on your armor, except for one who gets in between your armor plates and does 7 points of slashing damage.
Okay. Undeterred, I'm going to go after the head guy again.
Okay.
9, and could use my extra attack. 19.
That 19 will hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
7.
7 points of...
Or 9, actually, because it's 2.
Okay. So he kind of takes it in the shoulder. He's becoming even more enraged with you. Just as a side note, don't forget you do have your smites and whatnot. I know it's been a hot minute since you've done some.
Yeah, I did look at those.
So,
are those just like immediate, or do I have to take a second to cast?
They take your bonus action to cast them, but it lights up your first attack to have that effect. So you still get your 2 attacks, and one of them will be enhanced by the smite. The lead guy holds his hand up at you and starts to try to cast that same spell he cast previously. And the 12 still does not hit. Right. And then the cultists, so he reaches up and he casts a spell, but you're like, we are power in the strength of the Lord. And like it the power dissipates. And the other cultists see that you deflect this arcane magic that he's trying to throw off, and they start just swinging these scimitars. And again, only one of them seems to land these hits against you. Heck, game. Take 7 more points of slashing damage, please. And so it is Gheroth's turn.
How's this guy seemingly holding up?
On a scale of 1 to 33, he's sitting at about a 19.
All right. So I lay on hands. I'm just going to click on that to see if it gives me more information. So, which I guess it doesn't. Is that something where I can just like heal myself on the fly?
Yeah.
Or
Okay. But it takes your turn. It takes your action turn.
Oh, okay. That's what I was thinking. Okay. In that case, I will. Let's do Thunderous Smite.
Oh, one of my all-time favorites. Yes, let's do Thunderous Smite. But that's going to be a hit, so go ahead and throw some of that Thunderous Smite damage in on top of that. So that's 14 damage. Good night, Irene. Okay.
And then how much extra? 2d6, was it? It's audible within 300 feet. The attack deals an extra 2d6 thunder damage to the target. Additionally, if the target is a creature, it must succeed on a strength saving throw or be pushed 10 feet away from you and knocked prone.
Right. Go ahead and roll that damage, though, because I think...
2d6. Probably not a creature. 6. And extra 7. So 21 points.
Yeah, you hit this guy with this Thunderous Smite, and this loud boom comes off of your axe as you hit him. And
there was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom!
And his lifeless body goes flying backwards. And as he releases the rope that held this goat in place, the goat is startled by the loud crack the loud peal of thunder and runs off.
Poor goat. All right. So are the others still
They look a bit concerned, but their resolve remains firm.
Okay. Wow. All right.
I mean, Gheroth was getting ready to die for the sake of fighting both, so...
Yeah.
So with increased fervor, they still swing their scimitars at you. And again, only one hits.
So close.
You take 4 points of slashing damage on that, as only one seems to really find its mark on you. So yeah, you're getting a little bit cut up, but it's becoming increasingly obvious that they're probably on the losing end of this fight now that their leader's gone.
All right.
It is your turn now.
So battle axe.
Battle axe. That's gonna hit.
15.
Which one are you swinging at?
26. Let's do the one in front of me and then the one to my right.
Okay. Go ahead and roll damage twice.
8, 12.
Yeah, that eliminates both of them. And the other three start to get really concerned looks on their face. The remaining four, one shouts at the remaining four, and they all start to scramble and run off. Are you going to continue to swing at them as they run for an attack of opportunity?
I would do that attack of opportunity, yes.
Which one do you want to swing at?
Are they all equally?
Yeah, they're all right next to you. So when they start running, so you're swinging when they...
Just for the sake of housekeeping, I'll do the one that's to my left.
All right.
14.
14's going to hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
14.
Yeah, you murdered him as well.
And the others I will...
you only get one attack of opportunity. So.
Right. Yeah, but I imagine they're running away, but I have my javelins right here, so I would throw the javelins after them.
I believe you can throw the javelins if you should so choose.
27. I think that's a natural 20.
No, that's if you had advantage, because
that's right. Yep.
So
I was reading it as my two-handed.
Yeah.
Thing, so 12.
12 just hits. Which one are you hitting?
The one to the left.
To the left. All right. And go ahead and roll damage on that one. Dude.
Wow, 14.
No, that plus 5 is only if you had the 27. So yeah, you tag that one guy, and as he's running away, you clip him in the back of the neck, and he falls face forward as the javelin is just sitting there. And and the other two are running. You can throw another javelin should you so choose.
Another 12.
That's going to hit. Another 9. Which one are you tagging with that one?
The middle.
Yeah. Similar fate, but this one you catch him between the shoulder blades. And the other one shouts after himself as he runs off. He's like, "This'll be on your head. The destroyer will come." And he runs out of your javelin range.
All right.
So,
how does the rest of the night go?
You're like, whatever. It is fairly uneventful, although, like I said, you are surrounded by corpses that have hoods concealing their faces.
Mm-hmm.
So if you would...
So I will, I'll check out the corpses.
Most of them are people that you don't recognize. Some of them were undead.
Okay.
But
what about the goat
I was about to say, you approach the leader, and as it turns out, the leader of this particular group was Broburn Warney.
Oh.
Broburn Warney, rather.
He was the guy that was like, "Oh, we should just let them do their own thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be an outreach of the church to have people graffiti eyes." Wow, so I killed a member of our church. Good. That's something to put in my diary.
Dear diary, murdered somebody on the board. Always wanted to do that.
Also, cookout. All right, well, you see, that's something that you would sort of want to make people aware of sooner rather than later. What time of night is it?
It's dark now.
Has this drawn the attention of anyone?
You've noticed, this is what I was having you roll for earlier, but since you've been in town, you've had more time to notice, but it seems more and more like people are almost intentionally averting their eyes from away from the church. Like they're trying not to look at it.
Okay.
So, and nobody was out at the time. So it seems you feel fairly confident that it did not draw any attention.
But there are no, urchins or anything like that?
Not that.
Wow. So I'm just like the only person in town?
No, just the only person in the vicinity of your current building. Waterdeep's a big city.
I know. So I'm sort of surprised.
Also, it's chicken fried steak night at the Yawning Portal, which is a big deal.
That explains it. All right, I will say a prayer for my recently departed friend, who I didn't know was an enemy until I had killed him. But no one else. I don't recognize any of the undead or anything like that. Okay. I would. I don't know what you call it. Consecrate the bodies, or do something to them. Maybe, I don't know, prayer over them or something to whatever would encourage them not to be undead anymore.
Encourage them not to be undead.
Well, let's not be undead, okay, guys? All done with the undead stuff. Go up to heaven or somewhere else, but no more undead.
Go to heaven, go to hell, but you can't stay here.
Nice. Yeah, one or the other. All right.
All right. So how do you spend the rest of your evening? Are you gonna rest at all, or?
Yeah, I'll sort of be on guard, but I'll be still at my little camp, and I'm staying up all night.
Okay.
But I'll heal myself up to full.
Okay. After the rest of the night remains uneventful, are you going to bury the corpses, or are you just going to leave them where they lay?
I'll take them aside, at least. And I mean, I can't, if I don't know who they are, I'm not going to bury them.
Okay.
Because otherwise it's going to be like, well, who were they? Well, I don't know. Let's dig them back up. So I'll put them aside and make sure that when the morning comes, people can see if they recognize them or whatever.
That one church that has the corpses in the yard.
Yeah, the corpse church.
All right. So morning comes, Belle comes to work on the church under the assumption that there's going to be more graffiti on the church. And she sees you standing over a mound of bodies, and she's like, "Oh my, what happened?"
There was some slight difficulty. 10 gentlemen came by and wanted to do something with a goat. I was able to scare the goat away, and one of the gentlemen left. The others remained here in this state.
Remained here in this state.
One of them, unfortunately, was... I'm blanking on his name.
It was Froburn
Warney. He was the leader, and it was not apparent that it was him while I was dealing with them. So perhaps we should make sure his family understands what was happening here and help them deal with the next steps.
Yeah, you're totally right. I'll go check on them. I'll be right back. And she runs off. A few minutes, unless there was something you wanted to do. What in the meantime?
I'm just gonna take a sip of my drink.
All right. A few minutes later, she returns. She's like, I went to his house and it was completely empty. Like there's nobody and there's nothing inside.
Well, opening on the board, I guess, is something to put in the bulletin.
That's amazing.
That's awful. That's awful. Were the other members of his family part of the church?
No, he talked about having family, but we never met them. He just kind of, I don't know. He had some progressive ideas as far as, what we should tolerate within the congregation.
Right. Perhaps we should remove the corpses to the constabulary so they may be able to better identify them. And with Froburn, I guess I will go by whatever I don't know if we have a cemetery attached to the church, or if he has violated the right to be there. So I'm not sure what happens next with him. But I'd be willing to help out in any way possible.
Yeah, we'll definitely look into that. And as she's kind of sitting there stammering, you hear a massive rip come from above you.
I look above me.
You see a tear in the sky.
A tear?
And
there's a tear in this guy?
No, not a tear, a tear, as in a rip in time-space.
I was making a pun.
Gotcha.
Perhaps you've heard of funny.
Not from you, I haven't.
Whoa! That was awful. Man, I'm shutting down. See you later.
Anyway, and so as you look up, you see large tentacles as thick as tree trunks descending from this tear down towards Waterdeep. And Belle looks up just in time to see one come down and snatch her up.
Not Belle.
And
John,
as you are,
what did Belle ever do to you?
As you are looking up, as she is going up towards the sky, you notice that she is. It's almost like this tentacle is consuming her on the way up, like she is being quickly digested in the grasp of this tentacle.
Are the tentacles near enough that I could hit them, or?
I mean, they're just shooting down from the sky and grabbing people and pulling them up. Like, and they aren't being particular. Like, they're grabbing buildings, and buildings are exploding, and it's basically just mass destruction all around.
Okay, so compelled duel. No, I'm just joking. Let's see. She's out of my range, so I couldn't heal her or bless her. Right?
No. She is effectively she's like a parrot in a Monty Python sketch.
She's an expert. So aid wouldn't help. Magic weapon help her. So I have nothing that could help her.
No, she's tentacle food.
Right. Okay. All right. I'm near enough to my javelins, right?
Yeah.
I'll just keep throwing the javelins at whatever's nearest to me and pray.
So as you throw your first javelin, you hear a familiar voice come from off to your right, and he goes, Gheroth, what are you doing? And you turn and you see Durnan running up to you.
Durnan, watch out! Something incredible is happening.
Yeah, I can see that. We need to get these people out of here. This is not a fight situation.
Are there other people around?
Oh yeah, the whole city's in chaos right now. People are running and screaming.
Oh, okay. So I thought it was just sort of like me and Belle, and then it was attacking the city, and we could see it, but I didn't know that. Yeah, obviously. Yes. Everyone, follow Durnan.
So you guys are running, gathering people, and you're not able to save everybody because obviously the tentacles are just shooting down at random, and as the crowd is following you, you become a bigger target.
I'll be yelling out the gospel as much as possible as well.
Okay. And everybody is scared, but they're all following you because you guys seem to have a plan. And he goes, "Quick, get them into the yawning portal. I have a place where they can get safer." And
I'll stand at the door of the yawning portal and encourage everyone.
You watch him as he goes behind the bar, and he pulls up a kind of like a trap door that's behind the bar, and people start running down into it. And over the course of going out and collecting more, go ahead and roll 5d100.
332.
The two of you are managed to save 332 people from Waterdeep during going through the course of this time. And this tentacle slams through the side of the yawning portal, taking it off its foundations. And as Durnan starts kind of waving over his circle of teleportation, but what he's doing is left incomplete when this happens. And he looks at you and goes, "We don't have time for this." He's like, "Gheroth, get down in the hole, and then I'll seal the opening once you're down there."
What about you?
I'll be right behind you. Get down.
I get down.
As you start going down the hole, you hear a "Huh!" And as you turn behind you, Durnan is being raised towards the sky as he's being dissimulated by this tentacle.
Durnan! And also Bell! I forgot to yell Bell last time Bell was taken!
And you scream most of that as you're looking up at the sky, and then you turn down there and you see 332 people down in this cave system below the crust, just looking up at you with scared and expectant eyes, like, what are we doing?
Is there an obvious way to go?
Oh yeah, this is a giant cave system. It's not just a hole in the ground.
Oh, okay. Everyone run to the end of the cave!
And so you guys proceed into the caves, or what everybody who may be known of D&D lore, you guys proceed into the Undermountain. And that's where we're going to leave off with this What Happened to Gheroth episode.
So, does anybody know what the tear and the tentacles was all about? Nope. Do you? Maybe you know.
No, of course I know.
Oh, okay.
But that's where we're at. So.
Someone. At least someone.
I hope everybody out there in Listenerland enjoyed this little bonus episode. I had fun making it. I'm hoping Steve did too. He gave me a thumbs up for those of you who are listening. So that is a thing. And this is a little surprise. The cast doesn't even know that I'm making this. So I'm hoping to catch everybody off guard with it. So if you enjoyed the podcast, please like, rate, subscribe. Show us a little bit of love. If you should so feel inclined, maybe consider becoming a patron through Patreon at Patreon/Playing Games with Strangers. That helps us make this into a bigger, better, weirder thing for all of you, because that's what we want to put in front of you.
And if enough people subscribe, then we can quit our day jobs and do this.
Well,
every day.
That is the end game. But
yeah.
In the meantime, thank you so much for listening, and stay fresh, cheese bags.
You have been listening to the Playing Games with Strangers podcast with the voices of John Harju, Catherine Serwinski, Dave Clements, J.S. Earls, Celeste Mora, Josiah Crandall, Eric Campagno, and Steve MacDonald. The theme music was written and performed by Steve Arthur, used with permission. Please review this podcast wherever you download it from to help other podcasters find our podcast and join our community. And once again, thank you for listening.
A special thanks to our Blade Level patrons, Julie Earls, Aaron Peckham, Amanda Clements, The Cellcast, and Branson Boykin. Learn more at patreon.com/playinggameswithstrangers. Also, subscribe to the show at playinggameswithstrangers.com.